Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Trading Academy. In the last segment, we got into some of the different reasons on why people come in to the Academy here to learn the skills to do something. And that's what I challenged everybody in the last segment is, what is your why for really why you're listening to the show? Yes, it's great entertainment. We have a little bit of fun. I look like Brad Pitt. Al looks like, well, I won't say that, but he's a handsome fellow. But
good comeback.
I was just trying to be nice there for a second. Since it is the new year, holidays are over, but it is the new year. Valentine's Day are coming up. Do you have a Valentine?
Yeah, you going to send me a Valentine this year?
I just might send you a Valentine.
Fantastic.
So yes, there is a little bit of comedy on the show here, but why are people listening to investing shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our Investing and Trading Live podcast that's on every single podcast site out there that I know of anyway. And we get a lot of listenership just seeing what the markets are all about. And there's a reason people look for some sort of financial education. And it's the knowledge part, but it's not going to allow people to be able to actually do it, right? It's trading and investing is a skill. And that's why we have investing classes and workshops here at the Academy to introduce people to what those skills might be, how that looks, and then ways to take action on that. And we had a lot of people texting in for that workshop in the last segment that we do here locally. And in these classes, Al, briefly, in about 10 seconds, describe what's covered in those classes.
Well, we want people to understand how the markets function, why price moves, because that really is the most important thing. If you're going to be involved in any kind of financial transaction, you want it to benefit you, which means the price has to move a certain direction. What makes that happen? Who makes that happen? And how can you benefit from finding out that information? That's kind of the number one thing we teach. But then we also talk about the different assets that are available. Why is Wall Street always successful? Why are they consistently successful? Why does the public struggle? Well, Wall Street's just using things that the public is not being educated on. Mm-hmm. That's what we talk about. You can use the same things that the Wall Street pros are using, that the big hedge fund managers are using. Pretty much everything that they use to provide benefits to them are available to the public, but the public just isn't being educated on what those are. We talk about that. We also talk about the significance of managing risk.
Yeah.
And that is the key, the number one thing you have to do properly to be successful.
Yeah, I like that. That was a nice 10 seconds. I appreciate that.
But my watch stopped. I'm sorry.
There you go. But if you did miss seats for that that workshop here at the Academy that covers what Al's talking about there, simply just text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats. When you do that, you'll get a text right back, and there'll be a link on there. All you got to do is click that link, and you can pick your own date. We have these classes several times per week, especially over the new year. We've had a ton of people coming into these classes, these workshops. So text investing right now to the number 210 to claim your seats for that workshop on the financial markets. So Al, in this next segment, by the way, don't forget to follow the podcast, since I did mention that. Investing and Trading Live on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. We get a lot of listeners. One episode each and every single day of market updates to keep you in tune with what the market is doing. So in this segment here, Al, I want to talk a little bit about freedom, because there's different types of freedom. And what we're seeing in people that are coming for their why, their reason for coming into the markets, is freedom of time, right? We have freedom of choice, freedom of time, and this is a big thing that people are looking for, is because things are different now. People want to be able to spend, even they did before, but people are really expressing more nowadays that they want to spend more time with their family.
Yeah, especially after COVID. I think people got used to doing that.
Correct. It was nice, right? It was people that had that time. It was very nice, and they want to continue that. So they want more freedom of time, but they have this thing called the JOB, and which consumes the majority of their time over the course of really your whole life. Now, there are ways to maybe lighten that load a little bit, but you need some sort of income strategy to overcome that, or bridge that gap. Because if you're working less, especially if you're getting paid hourly, you're probably making less money. So there are strategies that the market has, or strategies that are available to the public, to use the market to be able to have that opportunity to bridge that gap. So say you have your JOB, there's a source of capital coming from that, but it's just not enough, right? And if you need that other source, there are strategies to use the market for that. So, Al, I want you to discuss here on this segment is what are some of the, in your opinion, the best assets to be able to do that, to have that opportunity, but also because we talk about this a lot too. The statement or the phrase "it takes money to make money." Everybody thinks it takes a lot of money to get in the financial markets. That's just untrue if you know how to use the market properly, use leverage properly. So let's talk about those leveraged assets that gives those opportunities to have freedom of time.
Yeah, really, what you're talking about is having your money work for you. You know, you mentioned the word job. Why do people have a job? Well, because being alive is not free. The job provides an income that goes towards paying bills, keeping you alive, hopefully having some fun, maybe doing some traveling.
Gotta have some fun.
You have to, what we see a lot of financial advisors saying is, learn to cut back now so you can put more into your retirement account. So when you retire, you've got something there for you.
That just does not sound like fun.
No. Why do that now? In fact, no, we don't know what the future holds. There may not be a future for you. You may not go through retirement, and it's a shame if you give up enjoying your life now. But in order to do that, sometimes it takes more income. Your job may not provide enough income to do that. We always talk about this, Josh, about how the successful people in the world have multiple sources of income.
And it doesn't have to be like hundreds of thousands of dollars on each one. Would it maybe an extra $50 a day?
Well,
would that make a difference?
Yeah,
right?
you mentioned the word freedom before. That is the goal of, I would say, 99% of our students is to have financial freedom. It's the ability to make choices that you want to make when you want to make them, to be able to do what you want to do and not have to worry about the cost of that. If your job isn't providing enough income for you to be able to do that, then maybe you have to find another source of income. For some people, unfortunately, that's just getting another job or working overtime. But there are assets that are available. The ones that I was talking about in that first segment that the big firms, the Wall Street money is using, those are the same things that you can use to provide additional sources of income. And that's not an additional job. An additional job means you got to put several hours, maybe even an additional, 4 to 8 hours into that second or third job.
Driving somewhere to that, most likely.
Exactly. One of the things that we show our students how to do is to be able to identify the right price to get into something on a price chart, being able to put together a trade in a matter of just a few minutes, or even if you want to trade every day, maybe you put an hour or so into it.
Well, let's just clarify that for a second too, because Al, I think that's a great comment because people think that you're supposed to be glued to your computer screen all day long. That's what the movies show. But if you have the right strategy, I mean, and just like anything, say you do it once, say it takes you 5 minutes. Say you do it twice, it takes you 4 minutes. The more and more times you do things, the more efficient you can get. I mean, to be quite frank, you and I could probably put a trade on in 15 seconds.
Correct.
It's really not that difficult to actually do the process, but you have to learn it. And that's the thing is, once you have that strategy, then you become consistent and things. It's just like anything.
Yeah, but it's repetition of something, but it's repetition of something that works. A lot of people repeat things that don't work, and that becomes their MO.
It's kind of like my golf swing. I can go out there and swing and practice all I want, but unless I'm practicing right, there's a difference.
Golf is why swear words were invented.
Yeah.
So, but
and here's it. Since we're talking about golf, there's a 4-letter F word that people say when they hit a golf ball. It's Fore. F-O-R-E.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I know you had a few people going there, and maybe even some of our people sweating a bit when you said that.
Yeah, probably.
But, in golf, by the way, I'm glad you brought that up because there's a good analogy. If you play golf, you have a bag full of what? You bring
golf
with you.
balls.
Golf, and no, but what are the other things that you hit the golf ball with?
Oh, I thought you were going to say beers.
Well, that's in there too. Okay.
Clubs.
Oh, there you go. Fantastic.
Clubs. There you go.
Good. I'm glad I didn't have to write that out on a piece of paper and hold it up.
You have a bag full of beers.
Yeah.
I mean,
but is it all? Do you have a bag full of the same club?
No, you don't.
No, you have different clubs. Why do you have different clubs? It's for different situations on the course. The same thing is true for trading and investing. There are different things that you use, very similar to what you would do with different golf clubs.
But also, There's another thing with consistency, Al. You mentioned, do you have the same club? No, but you probably have the same brand because as you become better at golf, each brand hits differently, so you're consistent then as well.
But how do you reach the point where you get consistently good?
It's correct practice.
And that sometimes that requires using a
Mentor or a
mentor
coach.
or a pro or a coach. Exactly. That's what we do. We think that's one of the most important things for you to really kind of seal your success. It's not just that. I mean, the knowledge. There's all sorts of knowledge out there. You could spend the rest of your life at the library or Barnes and Noble reading books,
Or worse, YouTube.
or YouTube, or a combination of those. Most of which is just going to confuse you. But unless you have somebody there to kind of take you by the hand and walk you down the right path on how to use that knowledge and build the skills to use it, you're probably going to end up with habits that are bad habits. That's why people don't do well as traders and investors, because they have not gone through that process. They rely on their emotions. They rely on other people's opinions, which is just another word for guesses.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about the instructors that are teaching, because I think you're kind of opening a can of worms, because it's not just somebody that comes off the street, is it?
No, and in fact, Trading Academy is extremely lucky to have, I'm going to call it a stable of instructors.
Well, 30 or 40, right?
Yeah, 30 or 40. Some of these guys worked on the floor of the Chicago Board of Options, trading options in the pits. Maybe the the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, trading futures. Some maybe ran hedge funds. These were Wall Street pros that now share their knowledge and share their experience with our students.
Hands-on as well.
I'm sorry?
Hands-on as well.
Hands-on, yeah, and that's really important. I mean, if somebody's lecturing you, only a certain amount of what you hear is going to be absorbed. If you really have to start using something, not just listening to what people are saying, but actually experiencing it hands-on, even if you don't know what you're doing. It's okay when you're starting for our students to make some mistakes, because we have you trading without using your money. But when you make a mistake, that's a fantastic learning experience. If someone's there to teach you or tell you why it was a mistake, that's something then that you don't want to repeat. But if you're doing something right, you want to know why that worked out, why it was right. That's what you want to repeat. But having somebody who will be there guiding you, mentoring you, and getting you to the point where you can develop the skills to use that knowledge, that's really critical.
Yeah, I mean, it goes down to as well. I mean, I've been playing guitar a lot lately, and I have a coach. I got a teacher, Twin Cities School of Guitar. Phenomenal, because teaching me how to do it the correct way. And I was trying to learn on YouTube, and everybody tries that, but you just can't learn unless you have somebody that has actually done it, and they can show you how to do things. And that's the same thing with investing and trading. When you're able to learn from somebody, but they're able to show you physically, grab that mouse and say, hey, this is what you're looking for right here, and here is why. But then a step-by-step path that is already set up for you. And then all you have to do is follow that. And then there's certain characteristics that we can coach you with, that can speed you up if you need to, or slow you down if you need to. And that's kind of what you have here at the Academy is a community of like-minded people. But the reason I made the point of having the same brand of clubs is the same type of people around you that are doing the same thing. Right. And that's where you become more consistent, and having that community brings more confidence in the markets. And that's where you can start to make more choices, as you said earlier. So we have these investing classes, and we introduce it to all these different techniques, these concepts in these investing classes right here at the Academy. And they're only about 2 hours long. So think about this. It's the new year now, 2024, and it's 2 hours of your time. Take the time to start that financial literacy and get down the right path, and have a plan to reach those financial goals that you have. It doesn't even have to be financial. It could be just freedom of time. So come into one of these classes by simply just texting the word investing to the number 210-210, and that's for 2 seats for this workshop here. When you do that, you'll get a text right back. In that text, there's going to be a link. Just click the link, and you can pick your own date there. We have them during the week, we have them the weekend, and in the evenings. So text investing to the number 210-210. Or if you'd like to go to the old interweb, just go to otamin.com. That's OTAMINN.com. Al, coming up next, since we didn't really discuss much of the income assets, we're going to go straight into the income assets and how to use leverage in the markets to do that with the capital that you have in your pocket. This is Josh and Al, Investing and Trading Live. We will be right back.